the reason why we kind of want to, have this talk, and this is a message that we deliver to all of our partners all the time, is that in order to be successful with IoT, which I think all of you are trying to do in some capacity, you need to be able to find, a real problem that's being experienced by a lot of people today, but isn't already being solved by a mature and commonly deployed and widely available solution. And that's hard. It's a hard thing to do, but it's something that we at Techtelic, and I'm sure many of you in this room, are trying to do every day. And so that's kind of why we wanted to bring all of you here, because maybe you know about a problem, maybe you know about a problem that's out there in the market that your customers are having, and you can solve 80% of it, but there's 20% that you need help from. Maybe it's Techtelic with connectivity, maybe it's an application provider, but we've been around this ecosystem, especially here in Calgary, long enough that we can help make those connections and help you to sort of grow your business and solve those problems, right? So the other thing that we really try and stress at Techtelic is that IoT solutions should be designed with the end user in mind, meaning that any solution can be deployed by anybody regardless of their technical expertise. So this eDoctor solution that I'm wearing here, it's not going to be an electrical engineer who's deploying this. It's not going to be a software engineer who's deploying this. It's going to likely be a very smart person, probably a doctor or a nurse or an assistant at a seniors care facility or something like that. But the solution needs to be designed with that person in mind. They're the one who has to be able to be successful in deploying the solution. So that's one thing that we really try to strive for at Techtelic. We kind of adopted a mantra at the company of IoT just works, meaning that the solution will just work. You don't really have to think about it. You plug it in, you strap it on, and it just works. So that's trademarked, by the way, so thanks, Mark. And Mark will send his legal guys after you if anyone starts using that. Obviously, IoT adoption, and I'm sure many of you have experienced this as well, is halted when support's not available. So support is very, very important as well. So I think if there's anybody who's kind of new to the IoT ecosystem or starting to deploy a solution, one thing that we always stress at Techtelic, and one thing that we've certainly learned from, is that you need to be able to support those customers, support the POCs, the people who are deploying 1 device, 5 devices, 10 devices. If they're not going to be successful, you're never going to achieve a deployment of 100,000 devices. So that's just kind of one of the kind of key considerations we always take into account, is that support is there and it's available all the time. And that, I already talked about this one, but I think it's really important, is that IoT solutions should be obviously dependable, easy to integrate, and interoperable. And what we mean by that is, and you'll see this with some of our partners, but you bring a device, a sensor, to a company, maybe like Techtelic, doesn't matter whose device it is, a LoRaWAN device, it should work. We should make it work. You use a Techtelic gateway with anybody's network server or anybody's application, and it should work. Any sort of exclusivity, any sort of, you can't use this device because it's not integrated with this gateway or it's not integrated with this application. All that's doing is just creating barriers and making it hard for people to be successful in the IoT ecosystem. So we try really hard to just make sure that this interoperability, easy to integrate sort of focus is in place when we're developing solutions and building partnerships with our ecosystem partners like all of you. And then I think the other thing, and I know many of you will agree with this, is that the success of IoT is a marathon, not a sprint. So sometimes, a customer will come with you with a brand new solution and say, hey, you need to solve this for me in 2 weeks. And everyone's going to try their best to do it and fail, but I'm sure all of you have experienced that before. But the real success of IoT and the scaling of IoT, any IoT technology is going to take time. Those use cases need to be kind of discovered. We need to continue to be focused on all of these other things, but we also need to understand that IoT is so new, and IoT means something different to everybody.